Kató Lomb was a Hungarian interpreter, translator, and one of the world's first simultaneous interpreters. With an innate passion for languages, she transcended traditional language acquisition methods and became a shining example of how anyone can learn multiple languages, even without formal instruction in many cases. A fascinating story of self-motivation, dedication, and relentless curiosity, Lomb's career in languages began after she was educated in physics and chemistry. Though her academic background was in the sciences, it was languages that would captivate her and guide her through an extraordinary career. Lomb's journey into languages started serendipitously during the Russian occupation of Budapest in the late 1940s. As the Russian troops advanced, Lomb recognized the need to learn Russian. She famously said, "Kids, we are going to have to learn Russian now." This pragmatic decision was the catalyst that eventually propelled her into the world of translation and interpretation. She acquired a Russian typewriter and began to teach herself the language, laying the foundation for her lifelong pursuit of multilingualism. Her passion and commitment didn't stop with Russian. Over the years, Lomb would go on to acquire proficiency in 16 languages, including Bulgarian, Chinese, Danish, English, French, German, Hebrew, Italian, Japanese, Latin, Polish, Romanian, Russian, Slovak, Spanish, and Ukrainian. Through self-study and immersion, she mastered these languages and began interpreting for prestigious organizations like the United Nations, visiting over 40 countries across 5 continents as part of her work. Lomb's approach to language learning was revolutionary, focusing less on rigid grammar rules and more on engaging with language through real-life context. In her books, especially Polyglot: How I Learn Languages, she described the method she developed over decades. She rejected the notion of language talent and emphasized that anyone, with sufficient motivation and time, could learn languages. Her method was based on a simple equation. Invested time times motivation inhibition equals result. Lomb's guiding principle was interest. If you are genuinely motivated, she believed, you could find time for language learning, even just 10 minutes a day. What mattered more than the formal rules and memorization was your ability to immerse yourself in the language and overcome the fear of making mistakes. Lomb was not deterred by errors. In fact, she regarded language mistakes as part of the process. "Language is the only thing worth knowing even poorly," she once said, encouraging learners to embrace imperfection as a step toward fluency. Lomb's method for learning languages was based on what she called autolexia, autographia, and autologia, self-reading, self-writing, and self-speaking. She would read novels in languages she was learning, even if she didn't understand everything. Rather than looking up every unknown word, Lomb would let the context guide her understanding, and if a word appeared too often, she would eventually figure it out. She believed that reading for pleasure, such as mystery novels or detective stories, could reveal the structure and essence of a language without overwhelming the learner. When it came to writing, Lomb encouraged learners to write about their thoughts in the language they were learning, regardless of mistakes. Writing allowed her to practice structuring her thoughts in the target language. Finally, she would speak to herself, out loud, whether on the street or at home. This practice helped her become comfortable expressing herself in new languages, even if she was alone. One of Lomb's key principles was context. She argued that understanding a word or phrase was not about memorizing isolated vocabulary, but rather understanding how it fit into the larger context of the language. In her books, she emphasized the importance of not getting bogged down by every single unfamiliar word. Often, she would skip over difficult terms and trust that they would either reveal themselves over time or not be as important as the core of the text. Her favorite method of learning involved reading original novels in unfamiliar languages, allowing the story's context to guide her understanding. If she didn't understand something, she would move on, confident that the meaning would eventually become clear. This ability to remain focused on the big picture allowed her to absorb languages naturally and efficiently. Kató Lomb's legacy lies not only in the languages she mastered, but also in her approach to language learning. She demonstrated that languages were not a barrier, but a bridge to greater understanding and communication. Her books, interviews, and lectures continue to inspire language learners worldwide. She proved that with curiosity, motivation, and persistence, mastering even the most complex languages is achievable. Lomb's influence extended beyond her work as an interpreter. She became a mentor to many aspiring linguists and an advocate for lifelong learning. She often said, "You are never too old to learn a new language," and her own life was a testament to this philosophy. Her inspiring story continues to resonate with those who seek to learn new languages and cultures. As Stephen Krashen, a noted linguist, recalled after meeting Lomb later in life, her words, "You are so young. So many years left, so many languages to acquire," motivated him to embrace the challenge of language acquisition again. Lomb's work reminds us all that language is not just a tool for communication, it's a gateway to a deeper connection with the world. Our Anthropology thanks Kató Lomb for her invaluable contributions to the world of languages and language learning. Her dedication to lifelong learning, her innovative methods, and her inspiring journey continue to motivate us all, and we thank you, the viewer, for your support. We'll be back on Tuesday with another biopic.